with what would be normal for a medical student calling out sick. What is the significance of this stipulation? And do you think it was a good idea for Robert Durst to stipulate to this information coming in at trial?
Well, sure. Otherwise, you would have 20 additional witnesses, although at some point it's going to be cumulative, who are testifying on the same point that someone who had a day of a rotation, their first day of rotation, if they weren't going to show up, they weren't going to make one phone call. They were going to make several phone calls in order to show what's going on and why they're not showing up. And the fact that there is not a phone call means that she wasn't out on some tryst with some dean for the weekend, that she was not able to make a call, and she got out of the way, as Durst testified, to allow him to carry on his affair. And her disappearing was at the hands of Durst and not of her own doing, because if it had been of her own doing, she would have called to save her place in the rotation. And it's a reasonable inference, and it's a reasonable thing to do to have that stipulation rather than have 20 witnesses come up and say the same thing in what's already been. I know it's great material, and I'm enjoying it as well in terms of all this testimony. But let's face it, this is a very long trial, and 20 witnesses saying the same thing are not going to add that as much to it. The stipulation does the trick.
I agree.